Question 19. Is there any way to escape punishment and be brought back into God's favor? Answer, yes. God reconciles us to himself by a Redeemer. So this is the good news after last week's heavy bad news, the declaration that we are sinful and therefore we deserve punishment, and the object that we have sinned against is of infinite value, so therefore our punishment is of infinite extent. God makes the way, though. In the gospel, we see that he has provided a way for man, for sinners, to be redeemed back to himself and to have that punishment taken away. The full answer given here is yes. To satisfy his justice, God himself, out of mere mercy, reconciles us to himself and delivers us from sin and from the punishment of sin by a Redeemer. Next week, we're going to examine that Redeemer, but I want to just direct us to some verses from Isaiah 53. Starting in verse 10, the prophet writes, "Yet it was the will of the Lord to crush him. He has put him to grief. When his soul makes an offering for guilt, he shall see his offspring. He shall prolong his days. The will of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. Out of the anguish of his soul he shall see and be satisfied." And that is the hope, that because of the work of the Redeemer, he will see this anguish of his soul, the cost paid for sinners, and he'll be satisfied because he will accomplish the redemption of his people. It is him bearing our punishment. It is him providing the way of return. It is all through that work of the Redeemer. So question 19, is there any way to escape punishment and be brought back into God's favor? Answer, yes. God reconciles us to himself by a Redeemer.